I just heard Dr. Twerski break down the challenge of making decisions, and a lot of us struggle with making decisions. Let me tell you, this man was onto something very deep. We're making so many decisions every single day, whether it be these trivial ones or the ones that are bigger, life altering choices. But how often do we approach them with both integrity and self awareness? His perspective is giving us somewhat of a clear path. Let's dive in.
I think that decision making is a part of the issue of assertiveness. We always think about assertiveness and how assertiveness you can be with other people, but you have to be assertive with yourself and make personal decisions. I know of a woman who takes somebody else to go shopping with her because she can't make a decision as to buy the pink or the blue. Back in my office, I used to have a poster that showed a dog standing between two fire hydrants, and the caption was, "Decisions, decisions." And sometimes the decisions that we are indecisive about are of no greater consequences than. I remember in the shul, there was a whole argument at a meeting from the shul organization about an affair that they were going to have, whether they should have the kichel with sugar or the kichel without sugar. I mean, decisions. But there are decisions in life that are much greater than that. I mean, you make a decision as to who you're going to marry, a decision what kind of profession you want, what kind of job you want. As a doctor, I have to make a decision how I'm going to treat the patient, right? Sometimes a decision, do we take a chance on surgery? What are the risks of surgery? So there's all levels of decision making. First thing we have to realize is we are not always going to make the correct decision, right? Only God can be right 100% of the time. I'm going to make wrong decisions. But my decision making has to be with integrity, right? If I'm going to think about whether I should operate on a patient or not, it's not because how much I can collect for the operation, right? But what is the best thing for this patient? So first of all, we have to realize that we are housed within a physical body that has desires and has impulses, etc., and that they may color our decision making. Right? We may not realize that sometimes we're bribed. Right? And the bribe is because we want things to turn out a certain way, and we don't make the decision on what is really right because we see what is really right, what we want to be right. So there was one of the great Hasidic Rebbe's who was asked by one of his followers, how can I make good decisions? So the Rebbe said, did you ever watch a tightrope walker? He said, the way a tightrope walker keeps his balance is that if he feels himself pulled over to the one side, he overcorrects by leaning to the other side. And that's how he keeps his balance. He says, when you have a desire to do something, the first thing you ought to recognize is most of the desires come from animalistic traits. So the first thing you should do is think as to why you should not do it, right? And then lean over to that side, and then you may make a decision. I think that we have to have self-confidence in our decisions and realize I am capable of making decisions. There are times when I have to ask expert advice. But given that, ultimately, the decisions are mine. And I also have to realize that not making a decision is a decision, that I've decided not to make a decision, right? And I have to realize that if I'm not going to make decisions, other people are going to make them for me, right? And that the decisions that other people are going to make for me are much worse than the worst decision that I can make for myself, right? Because I have my own interests, and most people know what's good for them. So I think that making decisions means getting the best possible information, right? And having self-confidence. I think it's appropriate to pray for decisions, right? And ask for divine guidance and help me make the right decision. And then not to be shaken by the fact that after we do the best we can, that the decision may not work out the way we want, right? And not to see that a decision that has poor consequences, not the disease that has a horrible failure on our part. I always say our decisions are good or bad determined by how we made them, not what the consequences were.
Wow. He's so on point. And it actually hit me hard when he said you have to be assertive. It's not just about being assertive with others, it's about being assertive with yourself. How many of us get stuck because we're afraid that we're making the wrong decision? You ever felt that? The truth is, though, as he was saying, is we can't be right 100% of the time. Only God can. But that doesn't mean we should shy away from taking ownership over our choices. And what really stands out for me is that analogy of the tightrope walker. When you feel pulled too strongly by a desire, which is usually animalistic, as he said, the advice is to lean to the opposite direction so I can regain balance. This is very profound because so many decisions are clouded by what we want to be right instead of what is truly right. And recognizing that bias and overcorrecting helps us stay grounded. And then there's this reminder is not making decisions is a decision. If you avoid responsibility, someone else or even your circumstances are going to decide for you, often in ways that don't serve your best interests. Life isn't about waiting for the perfect time or the perfect clarity. It's about gathering the best information we can and going after and seeking guidance, including divine guidance, and moving forward with confidence, knowing that the outcome doesn't define your success. Success is how you made the decision, not necessarily in how it turns out. It's like this quote I heard, when you live on purpose, there is no right and wrong. So next time you feel stuck, remember, balance yourself, trust your integrity, and move forward. Even if it doesn't go perfectly, you'll still be ahead of the game because you took charge of your life. If this resonates with you, hit subscribe and let's keep learning and growing together because life's too short to let others make decisions for you.